Selamat pagi. Terima kasih kerana menyertai kami di e-KLESF 2022. Nama saya Azlinda daripada Universiti Tunku Abdul Rahman. Hari ini kami akan membentangkan webinar yang bertajuk Teknologi Satelit dalam Kehidupan oleh Dr. Norilmi Emilia Ismail yang merupakan pensyarah Pusat Pengajian Kejuruteraan Aero Angkasa Universiti Sains Malaysia Kampus Kejuruteraan. Sebelum sesi ini bermula, jika anda mempunyai sebarang soalan, sila kemukakan di ruangan chat box. Kami akan membaca soalan-soalan itu di sesi soal jawab di akhir webinar ini. Kepada semua peserta, sila klik sign in link yang tertera di dalam chat box. Okey, tanpa membuang masa, kami serahkan kembali sesi ini kepada Dr. Norilmi Emilia Ismail. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih, MC. Let me share my screen first. Okay. Yeah. Can you share? Can you see my screen?
Tak nampak?
Okay.
Okey, dah. Okey.
Alright. Okay, good morning everyone. Selamat pagi semua. Saya Dr. Norilmi Amelia Ismail daripada Universiti Sains Malaysia. Saya mengajar dalam bidang teknologi angkasa, which is satellite system, juga reka bentuk satelit, dan juga any other angkasa space applications and also space machines that we can use in our life. Jadi hari ini we will talk in both language. Saya akan cakap dalam bahasa Melayu dan juga bahasa Inggeris. Hopefully tak ada masalah. If you don't understand, then you can just tulis dalam chat box, then I will explain more. And I've been teaching in this satellite designs and system is about 10 years, dah 10 tahun dalam bidang teknologi angkasa. And I also have my own company, Space Inc, which making a satellite that going to be launched next year. Jadi hari ini kita akan belajar bagaimana teknologi angkasa dapat memudahkan kehidupan kita, dan kita boleh lihat, dan saya juga akan terangkan bagaimana kita ada teknologi ini dan apa itu teknologi angkasa, bagaimana kita nak letak satelit, roket dan sebagainya di angkasa. So hopefully we got something from this seminar untuk kita tahu lebih mendalam mengenai bidang angkasa. Okay, let's see what happened here. Selalunya kan, kalau kita lihat dalam kehidupan kita, there is actually sebenarnya banyak benda-benda yang dahulunya digunakan dalam bidang angkasa yang telah kita gunakan semula dalam kehidupan. We call that, kita panggil dia adalah spin-off teknologi. Jadi antaranya, yang pertama ni kau tengok, sedap je tidur kat sini kan. There is some of the spin-off on the mattress ataupun tilam. The mattress is actually, kalau kita tengok ada form mattress yang kalau kita baring, dia boleh bounce balik and elok je. So that's one of the mattress punya teknologi, which is the form to itself yang kita guna dulu untuk teknologi angkasa. Then kalau kita di sini, this is the form that kalau yang betul-betul digunakan, yang menggunakan teknologi ini masa angkasa ini sebenarnya agak mahal lah. Tapi kita juga ada yang spring tu yang biasa. But this is memory form, we call that, which is kalau kita baring atas dia, dan kita bangun balik, dia akan bounce back dan akan dalam keadaan yang sama. So this is actually one of the teknologi angkasa yang digunakan dalam kehidupan. Okay, this is the most obvious yang selalu digunakan. So most of us have this smartwatch, right? So this smartwatch, we have all the applications like tracker, heart rate and everything. But one of the technology that used for the tracker is the GPS itself, which is you use for the tracker. So sebenarnya secara sedar atau tak sedar, kita sebenarnya menggunakan teknologi angkasa ni, kita menggunakan teknologi ini, this is a GPS. GPS is one of the satellite technology yang digunakan dalam kehidupan harian. Jadi kalau kita nak lari kan, then we can actually clock the time and also the route that we use. Perjalanan kita boleh ambil masa dan juga kita boleh tahu ke mana kita bergerak. Kemudian kita boleh tahu berapa laju, kan? Dia boleh kira hal laju. So semua ini adalah menggunakan sistem GPS. GPS sebenarnya Global Positioning System. Tapi GPS ni, nama Global Positioning System ni menggunakan satellite navigasi or navigation satellite. So the system name is GPS, but the satellite we call that navigation satellite. Jadi navigation satellite ni ada banyak, dia bukan setakat GPS system. GPS is for US, United States. So we have like GNSS, we have GLONASS. In China, they call this system, they also have this satellite for this navigation, we call that Beidou system. So GPS is actually for the US punya system, satellite navigation system untuk United States. Kalau Russia pun ada, India pun ada. Jadi most of the countries now trying to put lots of satellite up there untuk ada sistem GPS. Now recently kita tengok Korea pun cuba untuk letak banyak satellite untuk ada sistem GPS sendiri. Kenapa sistem GPS ni penting? Sebab antara salah satunya adalah untuk security. Contohnya kalau kita letakkan GPS, kita dah boleh tahu location. Ni security dalam in term of security. Kita boleh tahu location kat mana musuh ke apa ke dalam military. Jadi GPS ni antaranya adalah boleh untuk digunakan dalam military. That's the reason why some of the countries which have banyak resources boleh ada sistem ni, because investment untuk buat sistem ni sangat besar. Bila ada sistem ni dia boleh gunakan untuk negara dan tiada pergantungan kepada negara lain. And the other one yang selalu kita tengok, let's see.
First. Grab your weapons and your go bags. Wheels are up.
This is actually kalau ada kat rumah ada Astro, some of the Astro ada channel, so I just show one of the channel, XN channel here. So how you got all the channel dekat TV tu from Astro? If you realize, setiap rumah yang ada Astro, dia mesti ada piring ke atas. There must be a dish up there. So meaning that they got the signal daripada sesuatu dekat atas. Jadi signal tu adalah daripada satellite, which we call that broadband satellite ataupun satellite broadcasting. So satellite ini digunakan untuk memancarkan channel-channel ni daripada satu tempat, dia akan pergi ke satellite dan satellite akan pergi ke rumah-rumah yang ada dish tersebut, ada piring tersebut. Okay. Untuk Astro, dia daripada mana? Daripada Miasat di Cyberjaya. Semua channel ada kat situ dan dia akan muat naikkan ataupun dia akan pancarkan kepada satelit. Satelit itu berada dalam lebih kurang 32,000 km. Kita panggil dia geostationary orbit. Dan dari situ kita pancarkan balik kepada semua rumah-rumah yang ada penerima pancaran signal ataupun we call that antenna with the receiver. Jadi receiver tu akan receive all these channels dan akan masuk ke dalam TV kita. Jadi Astro adalah menggunakan teknologi satelit. Mungkin ada orang tak perasan yang sebenarnya Astro ni sebenarnya daripada satelit. Sebab tu kadang-kadang kalau kita tengok Astro bila hujan, dia tak ada Astro kan. This is actually ada gelombang yang akan terganggu. Jadi gelombang yang digunakan untuk Astro ni dia terganggu waktu hujan. Partikel tu akan mengganggu gelombang, sebab tu kadang-kadang tu waktu hujan kita tidak boleh menonton TV untuk Astro lah. Okay. The next, this is the other things which is wireless ataupun cordless vacuum. Sekarang banyaklah Dyson lah, apalah semua kan. Majority now actually want to use cordless vacuum tanpa wire supaya mudah untuk bergerak sana dan sini. Tapi tahukah bahawa cordless vacuum ni actually comes dia bermula daripada misi ke bulan kan. Masa misi ke bulan tu mereka memerlukan banyak tools nak bawa kan. Banyak tools nak bawa tu, tapi masa tu tahun 1960s kan, 1960-an. Masa tu kalau kita nak bawa barang semua macam kalau ada kena nak pakai barang elektrik kena masukkan dalam plug. You have to plug in to use the electrical equipments. But you imagine that you want to go to the moon but then you don't have any plug kan, tak ada energy yang plug, nak boleh plug. Jadi what they do is they use battery and they make sure that battery is enough to power up the equipment and become cordless. So kalau kita tengok sekarang dia start dengan Black & Decker. It's one brand yang very famous which is Black & Decker actually used for this moon punya mission, and they use for the tools, not really the vacuum but other tools also. And the tools tu bila kita dah tahu teknologi tu, then kita apply kepada perkara-perkara yang kita boleh buat. And one of them is the vacuum cleaner. So this is part of the spin-off teknologi yang sebenarnya digunakan untuk misi-misi angkasa, tetapi kemudiannya boleh dimanfaatkan kepada kehidupan kita. Jadi kita boleh nampak bila kita buat sesuatu untuk misi angkasa tu, sebenarnya semua yang kita buat tu akan boleh kita spin off kan, ataupun akan boleh kita tukarkan untuk menjadi satu aplikasi untuk kehidupan kita. So we can spin off any equipments that we use for the space and we make it for this application for our life. This is a part of the application that use space technology. Okay, we back again on the navigations. So example here, we want to go somewhere, right? From I'm living in Penang, so from Nibong Tebal, I want to go to, like here we want to go to Sungai Dua. So now it's easy for us to navigate. Kita panggil navigate, navigasi. Navigate to anywhere because we have a reference which is Google Map or Waze or lots of application that use GPS again. I use GPS for this is easy term. GPS to navigate us to certain point. Jadi kalau sekarang, kalau dulu-dulu orang buka peta, right? We have to look at the map where we want to go. I still remember when I'm studying in UK, I'm still using map. And to go to one point to another point, if you lost, you have to ask other people. But now we have everything on our hand, inside your phones. It's so easy. The life is become so easier now. So you can see that, oh, I want to go to this area. Just key in all the information there, and your phone will bring you to that destination using the GPS and also applications for the mapping. So dia sebenarnya why kan sometimes we see that map kita tak keluar, GPS kita keluar. Okay, kita nak pergi somewhere tapi kita tengok kenapa tak ada map, but we still have this GPS signal and dia tunjuk jalan kan. This is because it's actually combination map and also navigations. So if you have a map like Google Map, it's a combination. So the map actually is stored in the cloud or any internet punya ni lah. Facilities semua kena ada so that you can download the map. And at the same time, GPS is still there. GPS will be there because the satellite is up there. So satellite ke atas, selalunya dia boleh terima signal. But when actually satellite tak boleh terima signal ataupun terima signal yang salah. Ini selalunya berlaku bila kita ada awan tebal ataupun we are inside the building. Kat situ ada disruption of the signal from the navigation satellite, which is can give you the exact locations. So sometimes kita dapat location yang salah kan, dan kesalahan itu sebenarnya banyak disebabkan oleh kadang-kadang bangunan sekitar if we try to navigate dalam bandar yang banyak bangunan tinggi-tinggi, sometimes we get lost because of the signal of the GPS tu tak berapa nak boleh dapat because of all this halangan-halangan. Jadi tapi kalau tiba-tiba map tak ada, it's not about GPS, it's more about the internet on that area. So selalunya what we can do is we download the map first so that we don't have to get the internet and download the map. Download the map and also then we can navigate using the GPS because GPS will be there. All right. But what I can say that is GPS, these applications is actually memang memudahkan kehidupan. What else that we use for the GPS? We use for Grab, we use for Foodpanda. So these all need GPS to send all the customer to the locations or to send the foods to the locations. Jadi daripada sistem ni yang memudahkan manusia ini sebenarnya telah generate an income for the nation, ataupun kita telah membuat satu ekonomi baru berdasarkan teknologi yang ada. Jadi kita tengok teknologi itu sangat penting. Teknologi satelit ni sekarang ni sangat penting sebab dia membantu kehidupan seharian kita. So we have to actually work together to build this technology for our own country. That's the reason why currently space is one of the important, I can say important technology for the country because it's actually generate income, give most of applications and memudahkan kehidupan seharian. So space is everywhere in our life, but sometimes we didn't realize that. All right. Okay, let's see what is teknologi angkasa. So we have the technology part, we have angkasa. Okay. So any technology that we use, science, we use practical in the industry, pertanian, perubatan, and anything, we use science to use that back for our life. It can to ease our life. It can be we say that technology. And what is angkasa? So there's lots of information you can get out there to define what is space. Apa itu space? Okay. Secara formalitinya untuk UN dia ambil they took that space atau angkasa is start from 100 km altitude. Tinggi tau, 100 km altitude. You imagine that kalau kita nak tengok berapa jauh tu, you imagine 2 km we will see awan kan. Average berapa kilometer. And then daripada awan tu kapal terbang is like 10 kilometers. So 10 times from kapal terbang tu adalah angkasa. Where actually it start to be at the orbit. Orbit tu adalah laluan kepada satelit ataupun objek-objek di angkasa di atas sana, dan dia tidak dia mengalami the experience a very less gravity pull, atau we call that microgravity. We can't say that there's no gravity at all. There's a gravity, but the gravity is very minimum, which make them stay at the orbit. Okay, so here again let's see where actually the space begin ataupun di mana space ni bermula. Okay, kalau kita tengok kat sini, we call this is Kármán line. This Kármán line is where the space begin, which is 100 km. And when we see aurora is more than that. Meteor can be around this mesosphere. Then we have a troposphere 50 km. So this is where actually space bermula. Kalau orang tanya bila space angkasa tu di mana? Jadi secara formalitinya angkasa tu bermula 100 km altitude, altitude ketinggian daripada aras laut. Alright. Okay, what we have at space. Apa yang kita akan lancarkan di angkasa. So this is antara apa kita panggil teknologi yang ada, teknologi angkasa. This is the space technology that we have that help us in doing the missions or in doing anything which is can ease our life or anything that we need to explore or maybe to look for at the space and beyond. So the most important actually something that bring up any equipment, any satellite to the orbit. Kita nak bawa sesuatu ke angkasa, kita kena ada vehicle atau kenderaan yang membawa ke angkasa, which is the most popular actually rocket. Jadi rocket ni antara yang sangat popular lah. Kalau kita tahu, oh naik roket untuk pergi angkasa, naik roket pergi angkasa. Ya, betul. But we have lots of other things also that nowadays can bring things to angkasa. So kalau sekarang kita tengok roket kan, daripada bawah dia terus naik ke angkasa. But now we also have like kapal terbang tapi dia naik ke certain level like 10 to 20 kilometers, and dari situ baru roket dilancarkan. Jadi ada macam-macam cara. Ada roket yang lancar terus dari bumi, ada lancar yang atas sikit dekat atmosfer, but everything actually is for to bring up all the satellites or all the technology to the space. Jadi kita memerlukan roket. And the most popular also, which is we call that satellite. Why we call that satellite? This satellite kita boleh cakap, satellite ni sebenarnya sesuatu yang mengelilingi sesuatu jisim. Okay? Then satellite boleh jadi satellite buatan manusia, the man-made satellite, and also the natural satellite. The natural satellite is like moon. Moon tu memang natural lah kan, memang kat luar, dan dia mengelilingi sesuatu mass tu adalah bumi. So moon also has satellite, but what we talking here is on the satellite yang kita buat sendiri, which is man-made satellite. So satellite has a lot of application. And tadi a part of that I've told you the GPS and also other things. And kita akan tengok lagi apa application untuk satellite. And satellite ni banyak size dia. Okay, it can be very big. If you see in the left here, it's a very big satellite. And this satellite have a lots of mission. Macam-macam dia boleh buat. Kalau tengok kat tepi ni, sebenarnya ini adalah solar panel dia. And then this actually attached to the adapter, we call the adapter, which will insert dalam roket. Okay, so nanti dalam roket akan ada letak dalam ni depan nanti saya tunjukkan video after this. Then we can launch the satellite to the orbit. Okay, it can be very big and it can be very small. You see here, very small. This is we call that in the standard pocket cube. So for my company, I'm also doing for the pocket cube. We're developing pocket cube. I'm going to be launched next year. So this small satellite have a limited function as compared to this big satellite. Okay. Then satellite ni dia akan fokus lah nak buat apa. Dia tak boleh buat banyak perkara. It can do lots of things as compared to this big satellite. So this big satellite maybe can have 2 or 3 missions. For the small satellite, maybe they will have only 1 missions, but it focus on the missions, 1 mission only. So jadi apapun kalau kita buat naik anything up there and it's orbiting the Earth or orbiting any planet, we can call that satellite. So regardless of the size. So this size, kalau yang kecil ni, this is pico satellite, can be less than 500 kilogram. And this we can call micro, small satellites, big ataupun satellite itself a big satellite. So we have micro, we have nano, we have pico, lots of size of the satellite, but all the satellite eventually will go to the orbit and perform a missions. And the mission is depends on apa-apa yang kita bawa. Contohnya kita nak ambil gambar. Kita nak ambil gambar bumi. Kalau nak ambil gambar bumi, mission dia adalah untuk ambil gambar bumi lah. So what we have to do is we have to, apa yang kita gunakan untuk ambil gambar? Kita guna camera, right? So we have to install camera dalam satellite. Dan kamera tu yang kita panggil payload. So satellite ni ada payload dan satellite ni ada sistem yang lain untuk kita support the payload. It seem like, saya bagi contoh ya, it seem like telur, egg. It's like egg. Inside the egg, you have 2 elements. First is the yolk, telur kuning, or also the white one, right? Telur putih dan telur kuning. So the mission of the egg is actually to have a chicken, which is coming from the yolk itself. Kita nak ayam daripada telur kuning tersebut. So that's a mission. But to have a chicken, to make sure that it's safe, the egg is safe and become a chicken, it needs something to save them, which is the white egg. So the white egg actually become a food, and also they have a shell also. The shell actually protect the egg. So at the end, when the mission come, the objective, kita boleh capai kita punya mission tu dengan adanya chicken tersebut, because we have the white egg actually supporting the yolk. So it's same to the satellite. Satellite have a mission carried by the payload. Macam saya cakap tadi, payload like camera. We can't bring camera macam tu je. So the camera need a power. And when we take a picture, we need to send back to the earth. Kita kena hantar balik gambar-gambar tu. Then we have to have a communication system. We need to make sure that all these satellite tak panas sangat, tak sejuk sangat. So we have thermal system, and we have to bring that. The camera tu kita kena ada structure dia untuk pegang and everything. So there's a lot of supporting system to support the payload. So for the satellite, we have a subsystem, the system itself, and also we call that bus. And the main is the payload. So satellite have bus and also payload together. Okay. All right. This is a part of the knowledge on what is the satellite. So we have lots of satellite up there. This is part of that. We have Landsat. Landsat is actually taking a picture. EO. We have Grace, Aqua, and these all satellite has their own applications. They bring their own payload with their own missions based on whatever that the one that developed the satellite want. For example, in Malaysia, we need to have satellite yang boleh tengok weather, contohnya kan. So we bring the equipment yang sesuai dalam satellite tu as a payload, and we launch the satellite to the orbit. Okay, this is an example. How actually we put an object in space. So we, like I said before, we need vehicle. So we have this rocket to bring the payload up there. So it's going up to the orbit. And then when it's reached orbit, we will separate from the engine which is to bring the rocket up there. You can see it's separated. And this payload, this is a capsule. This capsule also can bring human. We'll separate, or it can be this somehow like together, like satellite plus capsule together. And you can see it's actually propelled. Dia bergerak pergi ke orbit sebab dia ditujah. There's a propulsion system there, and then you see it detached from the propulsion system and it orbiting the Earth. So masa ni dia akan run all the missions. For example, here we want to go to the moon. So we go to the moon because dekat atas tu, if we push something, kita akan bergerak terus kan. So it's going there, and also because of the gravity pull, dia akan pusing, and it can use propulsion system juga untuk maneuver, untuk bergerak. So here you see that dia bergerak, then from here dia akan lepaskan. This is the capsule, for example. So this capsule coming back to the Earth, it seems like we use capsule to bring the astronaut up there. Bila nak turun, this is what happened actually. Semua ni berlaku kalau kita bawa capsule. Then they going back to the Earth. You can see it burns, then it slowed down with the parachute and landed somewhere. So this is where we bring people inside the capsule and land back to the Earth. Okay. So for example, here it land on the ocean. Then the rescue team will come to rescue the astronaut. So Itu antara how actually we bring object to the orbit. So what is most important here is anything that need to be placed at the orbit, on the orbit, need to have to actually overcome ataupun kita kena lawan gravity pull. Kita kat bumi, we have a gravity pull that make us stay at the ground. But to bring something up there, we actually have to overcome the gravity pull. So normally, bila rocket naik tu, the minimum that they need to go to overcome the gravity pull is around 11.2 kilometer per second. Kilometer per second, you see that 1 second you go like 11.2 kilometer. It's so fast. So then from there, kalau kita tengok, if too slow, less than that, it will come back to the Earth. If you go faster, then you can you can escape the velocity and you can start orbiting the Earth. All right. So this is how actually the rocket bergerak dan juga pergi ke angkasa, going to the space and bring all this payload. All right. Then what you see here, we launch lots of things to the orbit, and now we have lots of satellite up there. We call, then some of satellite is not working. When the thing's not working, the object is not working up there, we call that debris ataupun sampah sarap angkasa. So all this satellite can be satellite, this can be debris also. We have lots of these things. So up there, somebody need to clean up. So there's a company that actually try to clean all this satellite up there. Dan supaya memudahkan another satellite to be put there. Jadi yang banyak ni kita panggil satellite di low Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit is around like 300 to 2000 kilometer. Kita panggil dia low Earth orbit. So 2000 above kita panggil dia medium Earth orbit. Medium Earth orbit where actually most of the navigation satellite there. And the highest we go 32,000 kilometer, sorry. We call that geosynchronous orbit. Geostationary orbit. This orbit actually where the satellite yang bila duduk di geostationary orbit, it will orbiting the same rate. Dia akan pusing This is orbiting the same rate with the bumi punya putaran. So 24 hours. So dia akan tengok kalau dia that satellite is actually up atas Malaysia, dia akan sentiasa tengok Malaysia. So all the Miasat satellite actually at this orbit 32,000 lebih kurang lah 32,000 kilometer, bukannya ratus. 32,000 kilometer is high, very high up there. Okay, so this is all the satellite that we have, and some of them we call that space debris because it's not functioning. Okay, what else the object for the space? This is, we call that lander, or here is on the Apollo missions, we call that moon lander. So lander ni selalunya akan dilepaskan when we go there. We bring this lander together dalam rocket, and when the rocket is actually somewhere, they going to release from the rocket. Macam tadi kalau kita tengok. And there is a propulsion system that bring this thing up near to the moon, and it's going to detach and going to land on the moon. So this is lander. So ada a few lander yang negara luar telah buat, dan most of them is on the moon. Dia akan land di atas moon, akan land atas comet, atas asteroid, akan land atas di Mars. So lander is one of the object for the space. So talking about moon, now actually after we have this moon mission, Apollo, then we try to get back to the moon. We're going back to the moon. So this moon mission, which is Artemis mission by NASA and United Nations, US, actually want to bring back people to the moon. Why? There's a lot of things we can do at the moon for the resources, and also maybe we can have another penempatan dekat bulan and can generate an income, and also we can do lots of experiment, research on that. Then we can bring back to Malaysia, to the earth, all the information, the knowledge, and we can spin off, like I talked before. Anything that we use or we study about the space, we can spin off and actually can bring a benefit to the humankind in dalam di bumi ini untuk dapat manfaatnya. Okay, so Artemis, you can Google Artemis missions, a lot of information on Artemis missions. And this is rover. Okay, rover. Rover yang ni adalah one of the rover mission in dekat Mars. So normally rover ni dia bergerak. Macam lander tadi dia tak bergerak kan, dia land but not really bergerak. But rover actually it land and also it moving and it go to certain area that has been predetermined and going to study at that area. So for this rover, this is named Opportunities. Actually Opportunities has been sent in dalam 2004, dah lama dah. It's like 15 years, and they actually dah baru habis dia punya mission. I think the end of life just ended, but it gave lots of information keadaan on the Mars, how actually the Mars keadaan dia lah di sana. And from there we study and we try to do something on the Mars, and in the future who knows that people we going to Mars and have a house there, have a city there, so we have all the penempatan di Mars in the future. For informations, Elon Musk, nama pun Musk kan, tapi dia Musk M-U-S-K. Elon Musk actually trying to bring the humanity to the Mars. This is his target. So he actually developed a rocket that can go to the Mars. And from there, if it can be done and can bring lots of people there, maybe we can have another community of people in Mars. All right. Okay. And this is another space object which is going to be end in 2030. We call that the International Space Stations. So these International Space Stations, International Space Station actually the one that we do lots of things. For example, here, kalau you tengok sini, we do experiments. We actually send a satellite. And for your information, dalam this ISS, we have a few modules, we call that, the area that owned by certain countries. So this area for Russia, this area for Japan, this area for US. So a few areas for the nation to use these space stations. And you see that we do a lot of things inside this ISS. And this is module, Japan module. And they have this robotic arm, which can bring out the deployer, we call that. Deployer that deploys satellite. If you see here, a small 3 dot here is a satellite that been deployed from these International Space Stations. And our satellite, our first CubeSat satellite made by UITM, University Teknologi Mara, actually launched via this module, Kibo module, we call that. Okay, they boleh launch satellite from here. So space stations, sekarang another country tried to do that also. It's not only this kind of space station. We also have, before this ISS, we have Russia's space station also. And we also now have another country trying to make their own space station like China. So space station can be used lots for the experiment. Then Malaysia dah hantar banyak, a few things untuk experiments. UPM dah hantar, and we also have like kajian for these herbs in the space that actually conducted in this ISS. Okay, So talking about Elon Musk, actually, it has some vision to have interplanetary, to make us like interplanetary generation, which is we can move from other planet to another planet. But the idea first is start to use rocket to move from one benua to another benua. So this is example. So you see, if this is New York using rocket, maybe it can be 39 minutes only. So we need to go to the middle of ocean a bit to board this rocket. So this is idea from SpaceX. Imagine one day you can board to rocket, and from New York you want to go somewhere in 39 minutes. So you see the maximum speed 27,000 km/h. Imagine. The highway maximum limit is 120, right? This is 27,000. And it can land in Shanghai after 39 minutes. Imagine that from US, from New York to Shanghai, it takes 39 minutes. Hong Kong to Singapore, 22 minutes. Los Angeles to Toronto, 24 minutes. Bangkok to Dubai, Tokyo, then you can save time to actually travel to one continent to another continent. So most of the trip you see less than 30 minutes. So this is idea how actually intercontinental transportations will be in the future. So imagine that this is future that will come. One day, masa saya kecil-kecil dulu, we always imagine that we have this LRT, right? Now we have this LRT, MRT. So this is something actually can be done, and just the time we show that when we come to the time, the right time, then we have all this technology, then we can use that. Okay, back to the technology angkasa, the space technology, the application that, like I said before, we use for military, defense, for the security side, and we also use for the communications, the satellite communication. Okay, but you have to remember the phone that you use at home is not really use satellite for you to call or to communicate to others, other than the GPS. We use normally here for the phone. If not the satellite phone, the normal phone that you use at home, it's just use a tower to send all your communications to other phones. Okay, tapi communication here also can be like it become internet provider. Something like now we know that Elon Musk have this satellite untuk communication, and this system we call that Starlink. So Starlink actually give internet to the rural area, but it's still not come yet in Malaysia because we have a certain regulation on the communications. So satellite also used to provide internet. How actually is used? It actually replace the tower. So we have something like very high there, and it actually sends something. There's all the frequency signal, certain frequency signal there, and it can be the internet for this at the remote area, for example. And people who are actually working in oceans normally have this communication through satellite because they don't have any tower. Dia tak ada tower kan dekat laut, jadi they use this satellite communications. Okay, and then we have this tracking, navigation. Sometimes people when they do hiking, jungle trekking, they have this tracker. So tracker also can use this technology of satellite. And monitoring system, actually when we take a picture, a picture from the satellite, we can send it back. And because the technology now advanced, we can take a very high pixel of images. Sometimes you can see people inside this picture, which is taken from the space. Okay, it depends on the technology that you use. So monitoring also can be used. Monitoring in terms of the weather also can be used. So you have this satellite looking for the weather, and also look. Sometimes kita tengok kan, kalau ada taufan, if we take picture from satellite, we can see the center or pusat dia untuk taufan tu, and we know it's move where. So we can alert the area that will have this typhoon. So this is part of the application of satellite. Okay, then in Malaysia, we are looking forward to have satellite application for the agriculture, for the farmers. So you can communicate using satellite. You can navigate your tractors or any transportation using GPS, using these satellite navigations. You can monitor something from the space. You can take a pictures, and you can analyze the data from the picture to see the crops ataupun you punya tanaman tu okay ke tak. So all these things actually can be helped by using this technology. All right. Okay. Then people will ask me, this is the normal question people ask me. Selalu orang tanya nak kerja apa dalam bidang angkasa. People know that, oh, you want to be somebody, you want to work in space, you become astronaut. This is one of them. But it's not the only one, okay? Astronaut is one of them. But actually kalau you tengok, anyone can work something that related to space, even a doctor. Okay. All right. So astronaut is normal. Then the pilot also. If you sebelum ni, we send people to the space stations. We use space shuttle. Space shuttle ni dia naik. It's like an aircraft, but it's attached to the rocket, and it's go to the space station. When it coming back, it's going to land back macam aircraft. So you need pilot for that. So this is one of them, the pilot. And you have somebody that working at the mission control to guide the pilot, or maybe to look on the satellite health. So people in mission control is also need to work related to the space or any satellite punya industry. So kalau you pergi Miasat, they have this mission control. There's the people working there. You can see that big screen, lots of screens. So they actually monitoring the health of the satellite. So we need people to work to do all this job to monitor the satellite. Okay. And researcher, of course. So we research a lot of things, and some of things that we need environment of space. Kita memerlukan space environment to do some experiment. So kalau tengok macam kita nak tahu how actually the seed of the plant behave dekat kawasan yang kurang gravity. Why? Because maybe one day we want to plant that dekat bulan ataupun di Mars. So we need to research on that. So researcher is actually lots of research related to the space. So this is like microbiologists also, we need that, scientists, we need lawyer. Yeah, because space actually is heavily regulated also. So kita kena tahu undang-undang untuk menggunakan angkasa, ruang angkasa, ataupun undang-undang antara negara dalam menggunakan angkasa. So we really need lawyer. I really need somebody actually well known about these regulations, policy, and anything related to the space, right? And here we need architect actually now they are starting thinking how they can build house dekat bulan ataupun Mars. Moon or Mars, kan? So we have to think this is not the same house that we were going to build dekat bumi, tapi kita nak build dekat planet lain. How it can work? So we need somebody that have knowledge on building something, design something for the house and other building. Alright. Then we have doctor, of course. Doctor, if you go to ISS, you know that our astronaut also used to be a doctor. But then doctor is need as long as we still have human around us, we really need doctor. So doctor also need to know the environment of space, how actually human can live with the space, with the environment. They have to know so that they can diagnose and they can rawat all these astronaut or other peoples who living in space. Then now we have designer for the suit. So space now, if you see, there is currently we have space tourism. So the space tourism actually attract people, ordinary people like us, to go to the space, and this designer has to design a suit. So this is penempatan dekat Mars. Maybe hopefully we can be like this. And this is example for the architect trying to visualize how actually it's happened if we living in Mars. All right. And okay, this is part of what we are doing here in USM. We do high altitude balloon. We not go to the space yet. It's like 30 kilometers, and we can see this horizon using the balloon. So this is what I've done for like 7 years now, trying to see something amazing up there using just a balloon. So this is an example that I've done before together with others kids. And I think that's all. And maybe we can have a question and answer. We have another 6 minutes. All right. Let's see on the chat. Okay. Yeah.
Okey, terima kasih Dr. Nurimi. Kita akan meneruskan dengan sesi soal jawab sekarang. Sila type soalan anda di dalam ruangan chat box.
Ada satu soalan saya boleh jawab terus aku.
Ya, boleh, silakan.
Okay, actually I've explained this, how satellite remains stationary in certain position space and not fall away. Okay, remember that we need like 11.2 kilometer per second to be at orbit, but how it stays, okay, it's actually on the momentum side, okay? Alright, bila when the satellite in orbit, it actually move at a certain velocity speed, we call that, okay, certain speed, certain velocity, and this velocity will be balanced with the gravitational pull, and it will stay there. But if you reduce the velocity, you're going to, kita akan sama ada kita akan turun, ataupun kalau kita increase the velocity, it depends, dia akan naik dan turun. So the changing of the velocity actually will affect the location of the satellite in the orbit. So to make sure that you stay at the orbit, you need a certain velocity more than 11.2 kilometer per second. And if you increase the velocity, actually you kalau kita tengok makin dekat, dia akan makin laju lah. Tapi kalau kita makin jauh, makin perlahan. So kalau we are in the, for example kita kat low Earth orbit, we actually, kalau kat Malaysia ni kita boleh pass by 4 kali lebih kurang. So dalam satu orbit dalam 90 minit, lebih kurang macam tu. So you can imagine dalam sehari berapa kali dia pusing bumi lah. So lagi laju. But if you go higher, dia akan makin kurang untuk you will see this satellite. So you change the velocity, actually you change the energy. When you change the energy, you will change the orbit of the satellite. So to make sure that the satellite have the right velocity, to maintain the orbit. That's why sometimes sebenarnya kalau macam ISS tu, dia akan turun tau. Dia akan jatuh because of gravitational pull. The balance is makin lama makin dia akan makin kurang. And actually velocity dia pun berkurang because of there's a bit of, we call that atmospheric effect there. Atmosphere masa di sana very thin atmosphere, so dia ada drag, kita panggil seretan, daya seretan. When the drag happen, you reduce the velocity. When you reduce the velocity, and actually you reduce the orbit also. When you reduce the orbit, you kena naikkan balik. So dia sebenarnya akan push balik naik atas ke orbit yang sebenar menggunakan sistem propulsion system. Ada roket sikit kat bawah tu, dia akan tujah balik naik ke atas. So then dia betulkan baliklah orbit tu. So that's the reason why certain of the satellite ni dia makin lama kalau kita tak maintain the velocity, dia akan turun. It's going to burn. Dia masuk dalam bumi, dia akan burn dekat atmosphere. So in order to make sure that the satellite will be not there, actually there's a regulation from US, regulation dia sekarang 5 tahun. 5 tahun you kena turunkan satellite you because another satellite will be up there. But for the UN it's like 25 years. After 25 years you have to think how actually you can bring down your satellite. So satellite ni secara naturalnya dia akan turun because of tadi the very thin layer of atmosphere having a drag, and then it's going to slow down dan dia akan turun orbit dia sampailah dia akan masuk ke bumi dan terbakar. Alright. So another question. Oh, can satellite remain stationary in space like a parked car? No, it can't. Because dekat sana, the difference here because we have gravity here. Dekat atas, the gravity is very minimum. And everything that has energy momentum that it will stay. Sebab tu dia akan, it will be there, up there. Remain. Dia akan moving, orbiting. You can't remain stationary. All right. Okay. I don't see any other question. And we
Ada soalan lagi?
Okay.
Okey. Okey, sekarang kita akan mengambil gambar secara berkumpulan dan sila buka kamera anda dan saya akan mengira nanti 3, 2 dan 1. Buka kamera dulu. Okey. Saya akan mengira 3, 2, 1. Okey, sekarang freestyle. 3, 2, 1. Okey, terima kasih. Okey, sila klik sign out link dan borang maklum malas yang tertera di dalam chat box. Dr. Nurulmi, sebelum kita mengakhiri sesi webinar ini, ada apa-apa yang ingin disampaikan kepada para peserta?
Okay, you can actually follow us, Space In Facebook. You can type Space In. I type the Space In. This is the Space In punya. Then you can get update, especially on the launch of our satellite next year.
Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you everyone.
Okay, sekali lagi terima kasih Dr. Nurulmi.
Okay.
Okay, peserta yang dihormati, anda dijemput untuk bersama kami di webinar yang seterusnya bertajuk My 15-Year Journey of Chemistry Research pada pukul 11 pagi. Terima kasih, jumpa lagi.